What's going to be the first? Yesterday was a good day.
Not working. I'm gonna start now. Because it's great timing.
You know,
I think that's it. What's the water going? There should be all cabins over there taking. Stress. You make right now.
it's somebody on the Zoom, like that's their. Like,
I don't have anybody in. Something.
Justin said that. He's not done. That's people. So it's like. Sure as heck, you.
So we've been doing this long enough.
I know, yeah.
I should be on.
Better.
Yep, yep.
Got it.
See if I figured out who it was.
Good guess. Oh, my God.
Audio and video. There we go. All right, they're muted. They're muted. They're muted. We're not. Okay, just click the audio down there. Yeah. You can turn on, see the green mic going.
Good morning, everyone. I'll call this meeting to order. It's August 16, 2024, Tennessee Post Commission.
Turning off the recorder.
Director. Right. I hope everyone's had a chance to read the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt it?
Motion to approve. Commissioner Wright.
Do I have a second?
Russell second.
All in favor of adopting the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The agenda passes. Administrative matters, roll call.
Take the roll call. Before we get started, we'd like to welcome a new post commissioner to the table, and that is Chief Dale Lane from Collierville. So Chief, welcome. Do you want to say anything to your fellow commission members? Maybe tell them, for those that don't know you, maybe just a little brief synopsis.
Well, it started in 1987 with the Melton Police Department. Was left there after a couple of years, went to the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, and that's where I kind of grew up professionally. Been the chief of Collierville for about 5 years. So we were just talking. I think my class picture over there at Dawson was in '88. So things have changed, but it's an honor to be part of the group, and just thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. We'll go ahead and call the roll. Commissioner Beverly. Here. Commissioner Green. Commissioner Halsey. Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
Commissioner Jeffers.
Here.
Commissioner Lane.
Here.
Commissioner Parton. Commissioner Russell.
Here.
Commissioner Spangler.
Here.
Commissioner Wilbur.
Here.
Commissioner Wright.
Here.
Vice Chair Carter.
Here.
And Chair Faulkner.
Here.
And you have a quorum. And we'll do our disclaimer. All post commissioners have previously agreed to recuse themselves from any vote that would constitute a conflict of interest. The most obvious of these would include issues that involve their own departments or some that they know personally. Because they've already agreed to this, it should be noted that on routine matters, it will be assumed non-verbally that these commissioners have abstained from that vote. In bigger, more controversial issues that may have a more overt conflict of interest, that may have an appearance of impropriety, those applicable commissioners will still verbally abstain from those votes.
Thank you, Director. I hope you've also had a chance to read the minutes from our last meeting. If you have and you approve, I'd take a motion to approve or disapprove.
Motion to approve Spangler. Second, Beverly.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The motion carries. The certification subcommittee hearing was held August 15th. Is there a report?
We do indeed have a report, so we will go down the list. Christopher Watson, the Bledsoe County Sheriff's Office. By the way, anything we say for default is default for failure to appear in front of the subcommittee. Christopher Watson, default for failure to appear. Seltane Batterson at the Chattanooga Police Department, we reset that to September. Anna Templeton of the East Ridge Police Department, default due to failure to appear in front of the committee. Connor Cooper of the Johnson City Police Department, we had an agreed order of suspension, and that was approved by the subcommittee. The Johnson City Police Department, David Smith, that was disapproved. Metropolitan Nashville Police Department, Sean Herman, there's an agreed order there, that was accepted. Shelby Pomerantz of the Paris Police Department, that was continued to September 19th. Kevin Brogdon of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security, that was referred to the full commission for a formal hearing. Dalton Barnes of the Tennessee Department of Safety was disapproved. Curtis Davenport of the Tennessee Department of Safety, default for failure to appear. Reggie Edge of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security, recommendation was for decertification. Matthew Gauchenauer of the Tennessee Department of Homeland Safety and Homeland Security, default. Dakota Jacob of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security, default. Carrie Naquin of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security was disapproved. David Schink of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security, no action was taken. And William Gregg, the Washington County Sheriff's Office, that was referred by the subcommittee to a formal hearing in front of the post commission.
Do we have a motion to accept this report or disapprove?
Commissioner Wright, motion to approve.
Second.
Carter, second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. And next, appearing for the commission waivers for pre-employment requirements.
And we will begin with the Bells Police Department. They request a criminal waiver for Terry Page Lozano. In November of 2016, Ms. Lozano was charged with DUI first offense in Madison County, Tennessee. February of 2017, Ms. Lozano pled guilty and was convicted of the charge. Ms. Lozano has since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
Is the Bells Police Department represented today? Yes, please step to the podium and identify yourself.
Captain Brad, you are with the Bells Police Department.
All right, Captain, you want to tell us about this?
Ms. Lozano applied for a position with our agency. She did tell us that she had a previous charge of DUI in Madison County back in 2016. And she pleaded guilty to that in 2017, and she since satisfied all court costs and fines and fees and attended the recommended stuff for DUI. She hasn't been in trouble since then. The most she's had is speeding ticket, which a lot of us have. And all the documentation was presented post from the court.
Questions from the commissioners?
Terry here.
I'm sorry,
Is Terry here?
is she here, please? Good morning, please identify yourself.
There you go.
Is there anything you'd like to add to what the captain just advised us on?
Oh, yeah, he pretty much covered it.
Was this involving a wreck in DUI? Anybody hurt?
I mean,
What are your drinking habits? Nick?
I don't hardly drink at all.
Further question?
Commissioner Russell, would you tell us a little bit about what happened where you got arrested for DUI and what you've been doing since then as far as work? Would you tell us about how you got the DUI, about the crash, and then what you've been doing for work since then?
I had to crash, I hit a pothole and lost control of my vehicle. And I've been in healthcare since.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Commissioner Beverly, did you submit to a blood test?
I do.
What was the BAC on that? Commissioner Wright, Commissioner Beverly, it's got in the board. Thank you.
Has she been working for the police department?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
She was in healthcare prior to applying with our agency.
Sure.
Is she applying for a law enforcement position? What position is she applying for?
She's applied for a patrol
Thank you.
position.
Further questions or is there a motion?
I'm going to abstain from this one. Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Beverly, motion to disapprove.
Do we have a second?
Commissioner Wright, I'll second it, but I was gonna give just a little bit in here. Mr. Lano, the commission really takes these DUIs very, very seriously. And it's kind of a breakup between the different commissioners of how they view these DUIs. For myself, just personally, so that you know, and I think it's with some of the other commissioners too, I just try to be fair in how I treat all these the same. And I don't approve any that have been within the last 10-year period. That's kind of my cutoff, and I just try to stay consistent. So that's the reason I'm gonna second Commissioner Beverly's a motion. It's nothing against you. It's just to be fair and consistent and continue to do well. And if law enforcement's the way you want to go with this motion carries, then maybe you can still pursue it one of these days. Commissioner Wright, I think so.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second to disapprove this request, this waiver. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. I'm sorry, your waiver's been disapproved. Henderson County Sheriff's Office.
Henderson County Sheriff's Office requests a criminal record waiver for Corey Lynn Ivy. In July 2008, Mr. Ivy pled guilty to disorderly conduct and simple possession charges in Wayne County, Tennessee. Mr. Ivy has since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
You represent Henderson County. Please step to the podium and identify yourself. Public address.
Captain Tracy Grisham with the Henderson County Sheriff's Office. Mr. Ivy has been employed as a corrections officer with the department since how long? He's been there, he quit, he came back in March as a corrections officer. When we were getting ready to try to put him on the road as a law enforcement officer, he did admit that he had this charge. It did not show in his criminal history, but he admitted to me when I asked him the questions on the application for certification that I had this charge. Had to do some digging to find the paperwork, but he was totally upfront about it. And as far as the details, I'd rather him give the details of what happened, if that's okay.
Sure. Step forward, please identify yourself.
My name's Corey Ivy. I've been employed with the Henderson County Sheriff's Department since March this go around. As far as this incident goes, it was July 2008. Me and a group of friends rented some canoes in Wayne County to float the Buffalo River. Marijuana was presented. I did partake. Law enforcement made contact with us shortly after that incident. I agreed to a simple possession and underage consumption, which was amended to disorderly conduct.
And what was the result of that?
4 cost fines. They did ask for 1129 probation, which I successfully completed that. Haven't been in any trouble since.
Any more issues with partaking of marijuana or any illegal substance?
No, ma'am, not at all.
Questions from the commissioners?
Commissioner Wilbur, just to clarify, you were a juvenile, a minor when that happened?
I was 18 at the time of the incident.
Commissioner Carter, just to be clear, your underage drinking was admitted to disorderly conduct, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, or do we have a motion?
Commissioner Wright, I have a question. When was, I know you're not doing it anymore, but when was the last time that you, consumed or took marijuana?
It had been that day.
That day? Haven't done it since?
No, it was expensive lesson.
Was that the first time?
No, it was.
Not the first, but it was the last.
Yes, sir.
Not hearing further questions, is there a motion?
Commissioner Jeffers, I'll make the motion to approve.
Do a second.
Spangler, second.
We have a motion to approve, and we have a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed?
No.
All right, motion passed.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we stay with the Henderson County Sheriff's Office, request a criminal record waiver for Austin Portland Owen. In August of 2009, Mr. Owen pled guilty to shoplifting in Madison County, Tennessee. September 2012, he pled guilty to DUI first offense. Mr. Owen has since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
Once again, I'm Tracy Grisham with the Sheriff's Department in Henderson County.
Yes, Captain. And who's with you?
This is Austin Owen.
Tell us about this.
This happened in 2009 for the shoplifting. He's 19 years old. He will elaborate more. He took a belt from Walmart. And the DUI was in 2012. That made him 23 years old. To give you more details on that, he was totally honest with us. He is not employed with the sheriff's office at this time, but he is a former corrections officer only. And we're trying to put him in a law enforcement position if y'all see fit. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Owen.
All right.
Good morning. I'm Austin Owen.
Shoplifting, young and stupid, learned the lesson. Has not happened since, haven't taken anything since, don't plan on stealing anything ever again. The DUI, once again, young and stupid, have not done anything other than getting speeding tickets since then. Well, I think I've only got one speeding ticket since that night. Hardly drink anymore. Just not my thing. Got my priorities straight, focus on the future. Don't plan on doing anything else to wind me up on the wrong side.
You've been working in corrections where?
Henderson County, I was there for almost 3 years. Left in 2021. As of right now, I work for Limited Armored Guard Service, transporting money.
Any questions from the commissioners?
Commissioner Russell, did you have to get a waiver from Department of Corrections?
Yes, sir.
When was that?
I think it was November of 2018. Pretty sure.
Did you provide a copy of that waiver to the Post Commission today? Thank you.
Is there another question?
No, that's the same question I had.
Okay.
Commissioner Carter, so you took a $12 belt and now you work for an armored company?
Yes, sir. It was supposed to be, pretty much taken off the record expunged after I did my 11/29 probation. Spent 3 days in jail, in CJC in Madison County. And then was on 11/29 probation for a year. After that, the judge was supposed to have it expunged. After it didn't, but apparently still.
So it did not get expunged. Hey, what was your, in regards to your, the DUI, what was the year of BAC?
My PAC?
Yeah.
Believe it was a 0.15.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Do we have a motion?
Good Commissioner Wright, Mr. Owen, I guess you kind of heard my speech to the last one, and you do fall out of the 10-year and with the shoplifting deal. Fortunately, it's been a long time ago too. How old was you at the time that the shoplifting happened?
19 years old.
19, okay. And how old are you now?
Just turned 35 in June.
Okay, Commissioner Wright, I'm gonna make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Commissioner Carter, second.
All right. The motion is to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion passed. Waivers to attend another academy.
Waivers to attend another academy. Cleveland State Community College Law Enforcement Training Academy requests a waiver to change academies for Haley Brianne Bowles. In June of 2021, Ms. Bowles attended the Tennessee Highway Patrol Training Academy but did not complete due to medical reasons. Cleveland State is requesting the waiver so that she may attend their academy.
Is there anyone here on this particular request?
My college is Academy Director, Cleveland State.
Anything else we should know about this? You should have said no for the.
I'm sorry, no. Just what you've been provided.
Do we have a motion?
Russell, motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Also second.
All in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Yes.
Cleveland State Community College Law Enforcement Training Academy requests a waiver to change academies for Brian Neal Vargas. In April 2024, Mr. Vargas attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but did not complete due to medical reasons. Mr. Vargas has since resigned employment with an agency in Cleveland State is requesting the waiver so that he may attend their academy.
Any questions on this? Do we have a motion?
Russell, motion to approve.
Second,
Spangler, second.
all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Motion carries. Thank you.
Cotton County Sheriff's Office requests a waiver to change academies for Joseph Malcolm Waters, hired January 1st, 2023. Mr. Waters attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in April 2023, but withdrew due to an injury. Mr. Waters is scheduled to attend the Walter State Law Enforcement Academy in September of 2024. Due to the time frame between training, the agency is also requesting 2 6-month waivers to accompany the request.
Is Cotton County Sheriff's Office online? Is that you?
Yes, I'm Captain Jonathan Oaks, Cotton County Sheriff's Office.
All right, Captain. Is there anything else we need to know about this?
No, ma'am.
Anybody have questions for the captain? Do we have a motion?
Commissioner Jeffers' motion.
Do we have a second?
Commissioner Jackson.
Is your motion to approve or?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Commissioner Jackson, second.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. It carries, Captain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hamilton County Sheriff's Office requests a waiver to change academies for Ross Chandler Roderick, hired May 29th, 2024. In June of 2021, Mr. Roderick attended the Tennessee Highway Patrol Lateral Training Academy, but did not complete due to an injury. The agency is requesting the waiver so that he may attend transition school at the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in September of 2024.
Hamilton County, are you present? Please identify yourself.
Lieutenant Mickey Roundtree with Hamilton County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Lieutenant. We have Mr. Chandler with you.
Yes, ma'am.
You can go to the podium also. And you're Ross Chandler.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else we need to know about this?
After the academy, he did attend police academy in Kentucky. While he was there, he received a physical fitness excellence award. as we're requesting a waiver for him to start the transition school year.
Other questions from the commissioners? Is there a motion?
Commissioner Wright, motion to approve.
Do you have a second to approve?
Beverly, second.
Did you? Okay, who is the second? Okay, thank you. We have a motion to approve this request. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
The Memphis Shelby County Airport Authority Police Department requests a waiver to change academies from Mackenzie Lauren Hill, hired July 15th, 2024. In October of 2018, Ms. Hill attended the Memphis Police Training Academy, but did not complete due to family obligations. Memphis Shelby Airport is requesting the waiver so that she may attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in September of 2024.
You can approach the podium, please, and identify yourself, both of you.
Good morning, I'm Officer Dante Turner, the GEI for the department.
And with you,
This is Miss Mackenzie Lee.
anything else you would like the commissioners to be aware of on this?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any questions from the commission?
Commissioner Spangler, motion to approve.
Do you have a second?
Carter, second.
Carter, second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, officer, it passes. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Shelby County Sheriff's Office requests a waiver to change academies for Edwin Lawrence Dorsey, hired August 1, 2024. In 2010, Mr. Dorsey attended the Memphis Police Training Academy, but did not complete due to academic failure. The agency is requesting the waiver so that he may attend the Shelby County Sheriff's Office Law Enforcement Training Academy.
I believe I see Shelby County online. Is that correct?
Yes, good morning. We're present.
Yes, please identify yourself.
Chief Inspector Carla Allen, Director of Training.
Anything else the commissioners should be aware of on this?
No, he joined the Memphis Police Department Academy in April of 2010, and he was dismissed because he didn't meet their required standards. And at this time, we're asking for a waiver for the change of academy.
Was it academic standards or physical standards?
It was the academic standards.
And is Mr. Dorsey present?
Yes, ma'am, he's present.
All right. Are you good to go, Mr. Dorsey?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions from the commission?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Lang, I'm going to abstain from.
Okay, one abstention.
Commissioner Wright, motion to approve.
All right, do we have a second?
Spangler, second.
All right, all in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, Shelby County.
We did have one more on the agenda from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, but that person is no longer employed, so the waiver is no longer needed.
Administrative waivers
There are none.
and waivers of the 6-month rule.
Waivers for the 6-month rule. Williamson County Sheriff's Office requests a 6-month waiver for Bryson Chase Lee. Not sure how to pronounce that last name, Karaszewski. I apologize in advance if that was incorrect. Hired July 1, 2024. He is unable to begin training due to an internal employee disciplinary action. He is scheduled to attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in January of 2025.
Are someone here present from Williamson County?
Good morning.
Please go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
I'm Captain Chad Euchre with the Williamson County Sheriff's Office Detention Division.
What do you want to tell us about this?
Well, Deputy Garchesky is a 4-year, 5-month employee with the Sheriff's Office. He has minimal issues inside his personnel file. We call them counselings. It's more of just a written conversation that we've had. This is the first actual discipline that Deputy Garchesky has received since being employed with us. And I believe that the incident at hand that took place that day, I don't believe that Deputy Garchesky had any ill will toward anybody. I think that he was trying to do what he thought was right. And unfortunately, there was a handful of staff around that observed him doing disobeying a directive from a supervisor, and it had to be made known that we were not going to accept that type of behavior. from our deputies, so.
Any questions from the commission?
I would like, if I could, sorry.
Yes, please.
Sorry, Sergeant William Martinez, he is the supervisor in which Deputy Karcheski had this run-in with, and I spoke to him before coming down here. And Sergeant Martinez stated that he has no issues with Deputy Karcheski, and he does not want to see him held back. He believes that Deputy Karcheski has learned his lesson and would like to see Deputy Karcheski move forward in his career.
Yes.
Commissioner Spangler, was he put on suspension for a period of time?
He was not suspended, no, sir. This was a written reprimand, and the sheriff thought that it be necessary to just postpone his transfer to another division, which would include going to the post academy, which he should be going in, I think, the next post academy, but this has now been extended to January. So we kind of took that rather than suspending him from work, we just kind of prolonged his transfer to another division.
Thank you.
So he's working for you now. Where is he assigned?
He's currently in the classifications division inside the detention division.
And passing the academy, what would his job be?
He will be going to Port Services.
Port security.
Commissioner Carter, could you give us a brief synopsis surrounding this incident?
Absolutely. So on June 14, 2024, we had an individual that was brought into custody who claimed that he had swallowed drugs and including fentanyl. When the shift supervisor arrived there, there was a handful of staff standing around. He ordered all the staff to return to their posts because at that point, the supervisor being there and the booking deputy being there, he had it under control. He advised Deputy Karcheski to return to his post as well, and Deputy Karcheski did step outside of the pod or outside of the cell in which it was happening, but stated that he was going to remain there since he was the primary on scene. Deputy Karcheski then started talking to another deputy who was posted in booking, giving them directives to call the transporting deputy that brought this individual to us from another county. And Sergeant Martinez had to step outside of the cell and again directed him to return to his post, that he was now the officer in charge of this incident, and that if he needed to, get back with him. And Deputy Karcheski then started to head back toward the booking desk with the deputy he was originally in conversation with, and again started to tell the deputy to make that phone call, and the sergeant again had to come out and tell him to leave the area in which they were and return back to his classifications area. And that was pretty much the event that included Deputy Karcheski.
Okay, so there's no other disciplinary issues since then?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Russell, Deputy Karcheski, did you learn anything from this incident?
Yes, sir. Good morning. My name is Deputy Karcheski. I did learn a lot, and on that day, I did fail to put my full trust into Sergeant Martinez, and then the incident. I've had multiple interactions with fentanyl. Since I've been exposed once, so I understand the severity of it. And at the time, the only thing that was really on my mind was making sure that the inmate did not overdose or pass away, as well as any other employees there. I believe that my presence was very important, and that's what I was just trying to explain verbally because of the knowledge and the rapport that I had with the inmate. But yes, sir, a lot has been learned since.
And you know the importance of following orders.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Commissioner Russell, motion to approve.
You have a second?
Commissioner Lane, second.
All in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
y'all very much.
Consent agenda,
The commissioners have their consent agenda, should have it in a separate document.
Commissioner Spangler, if there's no changes to the consent agenda, I'll make a motion to approve.
second,
Commissioner Wright, say.
all in favor?
will need to abstain on. I don't know if I need to on the auditor, but on the training officer, I know the one from the state, so.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Carries.
There is none.
New business.
Moving on to new business, agreed orders of suspension or surrender. Starting with Norman Christopher McCoy Boucher. He was employed by the Union City Police Department from November 4th, 2018 until his termination, March 28th, 2022, for violations of department policies and procedures, and we will go straight to our esteemed legal counsel.
Thank you. Madam Chair, if the commission would allow, if you could roll this one to the back of the new business agenda, it's a little bit.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Oh, Mary Beth Mosley, Associate Counsel, if the commission would allow, Madam Chair, to roll Mr. Boucher to the back of the new business agenda, it's a little more complicated and might lead to some further discussion. I think the other ones would probably go more smoothly through those first.
Okay, does that require a motion?
I think so.
Okay, a motion to move this to the bottom of the agenda
Commissioner Wright, somewhere.
and second.
Russell second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Okay, we'll move it to the end.
Next is Mark Robert Colburn. On or about June 25th, 2024, he entered into a deferred judicial diversion program pursuant to a guilty plea in Hickman County Criminal Circuit Court and was placed on probation. Counsel.
Associate Counsel Mary Beth Mosley, Chief Counsel Dennis Gregory came to the agreement with Mr. Colburn to suspend his post-certification for 3 years. Let me make sure that's it. It might be indefinite. It's indefinitely. Because he is on the judicial diversion program, which would mean that he has not had a judgment entered against him. So that indefinite suspension where he'd have to come back in front of the post commission in order to start his employment process after the completion of his probation.
Do we have a motion on this?
Commissioner Wright, motion to accept the agreed order.
And a second.
Commissioner Jeffers, second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Next up, Billy Kyle Harrison. Mr. Harrison was employed by the Athens Police Department from May 29th, 2023 until his termination on December 20th, 2023 for violations of department policies and procedures.
Mr. Harrison has agreed to a 2.5-year suspension. This would include the requirement to return to transition school if he was hired by an agency after his suspension came out of suspension. After his certificate came out of suspension.
Do we have a motion?
Beverly, motion to approve.
And a second.
Carter, second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Laszlo Nemeth. Mr. Nemeth was employed by the Metropolitan Nashville Parks Police Department from November 9th, 2022 until its termination on November 9th, 2023 for violation of department policies and procedures.
This is an agreement for a 2-year suspension. Mr. Nemeth's case is pretty similar to the one we heard in the informal committee yesterday, where he had multiple FTO opportunities that he just was not reaching the standards that Highway Patrol had for him. There was also one incident with a body camera where he either didn't come to work with it or wasn't charged, and a couple other inappropriate comments made during his training period. We've offered him a 2-year suspension and he has accepted the conditions of approval.
Motion to accept.
Commissioner Spangler, motion to accept.
Do we have a second?
Russell second.
All right, all in favor of the motion to accept, say aye. Any opposed?
Jerem Patrick Plestal. Mr. Plestal was employed by the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department from August 16th, 2020 until its termination August 17th, 2021 for violation of department policies. He has agreed to surrender his certification.
I spoke to Mr. Plastow on August 7th. I was willing to negotiate a plea agreement with him. However, he agreed to surrender his certificate as he does not intend to return to law enforcement.
What's your right motion to accept these words?
All right, and a second.
Russell, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, no. Let's make the motion, please.
The Blaine Police Department requests the 2023 salary supplement be issued for the following officer who resigned from the agency and was inadvertently left off the agency's roster. Herman Wyrick, completed 70 hours.
Russell, motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Carter, second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Jason Anthony Roberts, the commission basically needs to determine action regarding the issuance of post-certification due to a change of academy waiver that was not sought. The following is a timeline of events in the agenda. Mr. Roberts was hired with the Cannon County Sheriff's Office on September 4th, 2023. Mr. Roberts attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in January of 2024, but did not complete due to resigning employment and voluntarily withdrawing from the academy. In May of 2024, Cleveland State Law Enforcement Training Academy provided posts with a list of names of enrolled officers and students for their May 2024 class. Post notified Cleveland State that no pre-employment paperwork had been received from Mr. Roberts, and there was no subsequent communication provided from Cleveland State whether Mr. Roberts was a self-admitting student. Mr. Roberts graduated from basic training, Cleveland State Community College Law Enforcement Training Academy on August 2nd, 2024. Mr. Roberts was rehired by the Cannon County Sheriff's Office on August 5th, 2024.
A member of our staff.
Morning, Investigator Cantrell. So on August 7th, I received an email with the case assignment pertaining to Mr. Roberts or Deputy Roberts. On August 8th, I started looking into it and saw that he only had Cannon County as an employing agency. And I went to Cleveland State and spoke with Director Hodges and was asking him about the incident where Deputy Roberts had attended orientation with Toledo and voluntarily withdrew and came to Cleveland State. I was able to get a copy of his academy application. On there, it asks if you're working and where you're working. He did indicate on the application that he was working as a full-time patrol officer with Cannon County Sheriff's Office. A couple other questions down below that were, have you ever started a basic police training academy and not completed? He marked no. And the other question was, have you ever attended another basic police academy? And he marked no. On that Friday, I went to the Cannon County Sheriff's Office and spoke with Sheriff Young, Deputy Brown, the GDI, and Deputy Roberts. During the conversation, I asked Deputy Roberts about attending orientation at Toledo. He stated that he did not know that was considered to be the beginning of the academy. If you look in your packet, there's a copy of the class syllabus from Toledo that lists orientation as being 6 hours of the academy curriculum. I've since spoken with Instructor Cooper with Toledo, who told me that they make it very clear to the cadets while they're in orientation that this is considered the beginning of their academy. They have to sign their paperwork and all that while they're in orientation. When I was talking with, when I was talking with Director Hodges, he told me that Deputy Roberts came in as a self-sponsor. There was no, like I said, there was no indication on his application that he had, or I'm sorry, on his application, he had on there that he was working. On the application, the academy application, there, you can see on the application and the 2 recommendation letters, with the exception of the signatures, all of the handwriting is the same. And the 2 recommendation letters indicate they're from 2 separate people. When I explained to Deputy Roberts, when I was talking to him, that he should have gotten a change of academy waiver, he said that he asked the director, the assistant director, and secretary at different times if he needed a waiver, and stated that they told him no. Initially in our conversation, he told me that he knew he was going to need a waiver, which is why he went to the staff and asked them about it. And then later in the conversation told me, well, I didn't really know, but I thought maybe so. During the conversation with Deputy Roberts, Deputy Brown had indicated that apparently it was conveyed to him by Deputy Roberts that Cleveland State was clearing all that up and was gonna get a waiver for him. But again, I spoke with Director Hodges after that conversation, and he said that at no time was it ever brought up to him that Deputy Roberts needed a waiver.
Commissioner Wilbur, I have a quick question. On those recommendation letters, the handwriting is the same.
Correct.
Commissioner Russell, what happens if we disapprove this?
Associate Counsel Mayor Beth nicely, if the waiver for change of academy is not approved, it would be as if he never went to complete, like full completion. So his options would just be to return to Toledo and accept it. He also would not be issued his post certificate. We currently have not issued him a certificate.
Thank you. Thank you. And he marked on his application for Cleveland State that he's never been to an academy before.
Correct.
And you probably told us this, but I may have missed it. What did he say about that?
He told me that he didn't know that orientation was considered to be a part of the academy. And then whenever I asked him about marking on there that he was a full-time patrol officer with Cannon County, he had told me that he thought it was talking about experience, past experience, and that maybe it would help get accepted to the academy.
Are we sure that he only went to orientation, or did he go any further?
There was a voluntary withdrawal form that was completed by Instructor Cooper that said that class group leaders came to Instructor Baggett and informed him that then Cadet Roberts was voluntarily withdrawn from the academy.
And that was during orientation, after orientation?
It was after orientation.
And do we know how many weeks after, or days after orientation?
I don't have it in front of me, but I think I put it in the packet.
Commissioner Russell, this is Assistant Director Bello. He didn't show up for check-in day, so he had attended orientation, and that first check-in day at the academy, he no-showed, and they documented that he was not here for that first day at the academy.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lane, have you talked to any representatives, Cannon County Sheriff's Office, about the discrepancies in the application process?
Yes, sir. When I was interviewing Deputy Roberts, the sheriff and the GDI were both present.
They have a position on this?
From what I was able to gather during the conversation, they were under the understanding that it was being taken care of by Cleveland State.
So they don't have any kind of charges. He's working for them right now.
Correct.
Executives, my microphone's not working. Executive Secretary Kane, just to make it clear, we make it very clear in the orientation, which usually lasts anywhere from 4 to 8 hours, just depending on how it goes. When they arrive here, that is the start of the basic training academy, that they are enrolled and that is the first day of the academy for them. We make it very clear, just to avoid situations such as this one, but we do make it very, very clear.
Commissioner Jeffers, do we have any representation here today from Cleveland State or the officer?
Yes, sir, they're both here.
And when the academy makes it very clear like that, do they sign anything acknowledging or initial anything?
I'm not sure on the paperwork if they acknowledge by signature that it's the start of the academy, but they sign all of their paperwork for the academy on that day.
So if this is disapproved, he would have to redo the whole academy.
Yes, he would have to attend to leave.
Had to leave. And if it is approved, he will get his certification.
Correct.
Commissioner Lane, wouldn't that be? I mean, if there's even gonna be consideration for him to come back to academy, I think the biggest hangup for me at this point is the discrepancies on the application process. If that's the problem, going back to another academy is not gonna change what's already occurred, so. You're saying that based on what we're voting on today, it could still, this process could come back around again, right?
The process of
Him going back to another academy.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Commissioner Jeffers, I'd like to hear from the folks from Cleveland State on their point of view.
Mike Hodges, Academy Director, Cleveland State.
Can you kind of explain exactly what happened on your end and kind of give us a little bit of enlightenment on that?
Yeah, we had no idea that he attended Toledo whatsoever until Investigator Cantrell come to the office and told us last Thursday. We immediately pulled his application, said he didn't inform us of that whatsoever. The way this typically works is when we're approached from a change of academy waiver, they'll call my administrative assistant. And if they say, hey, I went to Toledo and I got hurt or whatever, she'll say, you have to either come in and talk to the director and assistant director about the circumstances or get them on the phone. We don't rubber stamp all those. If it's for other reasons other than an injury or a family issue, we don't ask for it. And so last Thursday when he was there, I said, he never said anything to me. And my administrative assistant said, he never said anything to me. And my AD was out of town when he came back, same story. We were never informed. Had we been, and just to give you some background on this, we had a young lady in the same class that week one, we got in email communication with Post, and they said, no, she doesn't need a waiver. Tuesday morning, week two, we get an email saying, oh, she does need a waiver. We pulled her in, here are the circumstances, you can't be here, she's gone. She's since reapplied because she got hired by the department and she got a waiver. So we take that very seriously. We don't, if you approach us about that, we were here for 2 today this morning. We had 2 today. So we don't try to circumvent that process whatsoever.
If I can just interject, Director Hodges runs a tight ship at Cleveland State. And your academy does a great job of communicating with the Post Commission and getting the paperwork that you need in. So I want to make that clear to the commission too.
Thank you.
Director Hodges and his team do a really good job.
I do have 2 things I want to say about this. Deputy Roberts flew through the academy. He had no issues. I wouldn't know his name if I had given his test scores over, but he was no problem. The second thing is, in the last 6.5 years since I've been director, I probably had conversations with at least 10 or 15 GDIs or administrators across the state who have said, I didn't know orientation started the academy. I had no idea that it started the academy. If you have attached orientation like we do, orientation is about 12 days before day one. You might think, well, I'm in orientation, but I didn't start the academy. That's not week 1, day 1. So I've had those conversations. So it's a little bit ambiguous in the post rules about what starts or what doesn't start. We know because we deal with this every day. Not everybody knows that across the state. I just want to say that.
I have a stupid question. So at orientation, are they dressed out in a uniform or are they in street clothes?
They're in their department uniform, if they have one, if they are unaffiliated, which we've had some folks that come through in the past, as criminal justice students, they would be in a suit and tie, or if you're a special agent training, you'd be in a suit and tie. And just to say for Toledo purposes, on our training schedule, orientation is included as a part of basic training. So it is on the overall schedule, for the academy.
Any other questions from the board?
No, Commissioner Russell, I'll put one for, well, I'd just like to hear from Mr. Roberts if he's here.
Yes, sir.
Please state your full name.
Jason Anthony Roberts.
And Commissioner Russell, Roberts, could you just tell us what your side of this?
So I initially started out, changing my job, and I decided to go into law enforcement. As I got into it and got closer to the academy, my wife had a huge problem with me getting into it. I was in the Army for several years. She just couldn't cope with me going back into something dangerous. So due to her request, I withdrew and quit before what I thought was the start of the academy. I understand that's what they say over there, but I honestly either forgot or just over time and all the stress of my wife and everything else. So when I left and withdrew, I was never intending on going to any academy whatsoever. Months went by, we talked as a family and went through the whole process. She knew this is what I wanted to do, and she finally accepted, okay. So when we were doing my college paperwork, my wife does a lot of filling out while I'm looking over her. So it is my fault. I take full responsibility. I put down that I hadn't attended because truly in my heart, I believe I didn't attend the academy. As my wife's filling it out, I'm looking it over. I'll sign. She's kind of like my secretary. We're a team. We do everything together. I never dreamed I was doing anything wrong. I knew that maybe, so I asked. But when I asked, it wasn't that I went to each individual person. I talked to Ms. Stutzman, who I didn't know at the time as a secretary, on the phone. Do I need a waiver? I made another mistake by not saying specifically I had attended Toledo at orientation. So it's not on her either. Again, it's on me. It's all just one big misunderstanding. And I don't want anybody to look bad on Cleveland State or Mr. Hodges or any of those. It is ignorance in one lane, and in another, just me trying to get through the stressors of life, get this done, go to school, I went down there and paid my way through, but at no time didn't lie about anything. I don't want people to think that, or I don't want to think Cleveland State's a good academy, because they are. And whatever happens, I just want to make sure that's no. So.
Well, I don't know how this is gonna work out. If it works out, make us proud. If it don't work out, come back and try again. I'll make the motion to approve.
Lane second.
And we have a motion to approve in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? No. We have one no.
Thank you.
Right. Moving on.
Post investigative report, post investigators to report findings of an investigation conducted on David Ray McGlasson for reporting false information regarding his military discharge.
Kevin Creed, post investigative. An investigation initiated by our legal department showed that David McGlasson possibly misled his department and Toledo that he had a other than honorable discharge for his DD 214, and it was never submitted to post. So I reached out to David McGlasson through email, and I was able to receive a copy of his DD 214, and the categorized DD 214 says it's uncharacterized, so it's not honorable, it's not a general discharge, it's something that needs a waiver for the post commission for him to become a police officer with his pre-employment packet. He went through Toledo in January of 2024 and graduated in March of 2024 with the local agency. On his application for his certification, and also his application for to be in the Toledo Law Enforcement School. He checked no to military service. If you look at here on your iPads, there'll be a copy of the application of the basic law enforcement school. On the second page, almost halfway through the page, it'll say military service. It's checked no. And then right below that, it's signed by him and dated 9/7/2023. Continuing on to the application for certification, on the second page of that, there's a box that says military service. It's checked no on military service, and probably 4 to 5 inches below that, it's signed by Mr. McClasson and dated 9/7/2023. His original department that he worked for when he went through Toledo, I researched that through them and got a copy of his application through the department he originally got hired with, and on his application supplement, which you'll have a copy of that in your iPads also. There's a, it's the, I believe the 4th page down. It says, have you ever been, sorry, I have bifocals. Have you ever been discharged by any branch of armed service of the United States of America? He checked yes there. But then underneath that, it says, have you been discharged from the military under anything other than honorable? He checked no there. So he misled the original agency that he had an honorable. By reading that, I would assume that would be an honorable discharge. But either way, the DD-214 never made it to post with his pre-employment packet. This officer no longer works for the original agency that he went through Toledo with, but he is applying to other agencies in Middle Tennessee. And that's one of the reasons why it got brought to our attention, because one of the agencies, part of their background and pre-employment, started looking at this and said, hey, he needs a waiver, but he's already a certified officer. So he currently applied for Greenbrier Police Department, and they are trying to hire him. He also applied for Sumner County Sheriff Department. Sumner County Sheriff Department denied his employment because they looked at the application with the original agency and seemed like he tried to mislead the department on his discharge paperwork. When I reached out to him, he told me he was very forthcoming and supplied me with this DD-214 within 30 minutes. He emailed it back to me, and it is an uncharacterized discharge, which would need a waiver. So currently he is certified in the state of Tennessee with a post certificate, but he did not meet pre-employment standards. So there's 3 options we have as a commission. One is we could hold a formal and bring in Mr. McClasson and see what his intentions were on this whole thing, if he really misled the department, or is it something his original agency that he got hired with did not provide it to us for some reason. When I spoke to him over the phone, he did state he gave his DD-214 to the original hiring agency. It's just they never submitted it in to us, but that's his word saying that. But we have the application, and for Toledo, and also application for certification that's checked no for military service on both of those. If you look at the form, they are a computerized generated form. So I do not know if that is a pre-filled out form by the agency, and Mr. McClasson just signs it like, hey, we need you to sign your application here and sign it. So another option we have is to bring in the home original agency to see if they misled the commission by not submitting his DD-214. The name on the original application of the GDI, that person no longer works for this agency, so that may be a difficult to get him before the commission too. He's no longer in law enforcement. So we're at a DD-214 that's not able to be certified as an officer in the state of Tennessee without a waiver. So it's up to you guys of where you want the investigation to go next, with a formal of bringing these parties in to speak to them to see if we want to grant a waiver so he can continue employment in the state of Tennessee, or just not grant the waiver, which would make it so he not make pre-employment conditions and he wouldn't be a certified officer.
Seems like an integrity issue to me.
If he filled out these forms, yes, Madam Chair. obviously, the supplement packet from the original agency, he filled that out. That's his handwriting. And he did check that box that it would assume that it would be an honorable condition right there. And that's why Sumner County did not hire him. They thought it was an integrity issue, and that's why they chose to pass on him. But the two other forms, the application for Toledo and the application for certification, I do not know if he physically checked those boxes himself, but he obviously signed them. And before I sign anything, I'm going to read over what I'm signing and swearing to. And both of those are signed and dated by him.
Any questions from the commissioners?
Commissioner Russell, can I make a motion to approve this, report and also make a motion to maybe suspend his certification until he files for a waiver? Would that be a proper motion?
I don't know that without him having the chance to talk to you guys, that a suspension would be appropriate. I think if we would have to go through our normal process of having him come in for the informal and then kind of go for the however, I think we could make a motion to approve Mr. Creek's report and then invite this gentleman to the next full commission meeting so the commission could decide whether at that point to grant a waiver or to remove the formal under some sort of questioning.
That's my motion.
And if I could just speak up one more time, I believe this individual who applied to the Greenbrier Police Department. Greenbrier Police Department does have the set for waiver pending this investigation.
And I was actually just about to say that they have submitted his paperwork and they have submitted a request for waiver. So in theory, you could approve the report and you will hear the request for waiver because it will come in front of the post commission. But we're not going to just rubber stamp, him into his next agency because he's already post certified since we have found this out.
And there's no way to put his certification on hold or something to document this?
So technically, right now, he is not post certified because post certification is attached to being actively employed with a law enforcement agency. So right now, he is technically his post certification would be considered active, but he is not post certified. So in order for him to get his next job, he will have to come in front of the commission for a waiver, and the commission will be able to flesh this out with him and get to the bottom of this in a meeting of the full commission for the waiver.
Okay, and Commissioner Russell, again, what happens if he applies for an agency outside the state of Tennessee?
We would have no way of knowing that. So the only way that we could prevent somebody from, and really it would just depend on state law, would be to have the person decertified or have some sort of suspension, which would then be entered into the National Decertification Index. I don't know the laws of other states, but I know here in Tennessee, we shall not issue a certificate to somebody who is on the National Decertification Index for criminal or other misconduct.
Is he technically certified in the state of Tennessee if he did not meet pre-employment conditions? Though, can we decertify him?
Associate counsel, actually, right now, because he hasn't had notice of any type of hearing, we cannot take action on his certification. But because he's not employed by a law enforcement agency, getting into a law enforcement agency would require a waiver by this commission. If the commission were to have that waiver hearing, have him come up here, talk to him, and decide not to grant that waiver, it would be like that gentleman that we have come up on those DUIs a couple times where he's just not able to go back into law enforcement because he hasn't been granted that waiver. But unfortunately, we can't take action on somebody's certificate without some type of notice of a hearing.
Could the commission could decide today, for example, though, to send it to an informal.
That would be.
So you could send it to an informal disciplinary committee hearing, and we could flesh this out in the informal committee to determine a possible disciplinary action there.
Commissioner Wright, just for discussion, it seems to me like that would be the fastest way to get a handle of the situation would be through the informal, and then that would cut off anything out of state, things of that nature. If we get the notice and all that at the time, I think that's probably the route to go, just in my opinion.
Commissioner Wilbur, would it be on the next month's docket or would it take a couple of months?
Kev, do you think you could get him here for September 19th?
I have a current phone number and an email for him, and September 19th is proper notice, it's proper time to get notice for him, so it's plenty of time to get.
It was the plan to have them, to have Greenbrier and that waiver on the September agenda anyway.
We had told Greenbrier, that we were gonna pause their waiver pending on what the outcome of today's meeting was. We could put them on for the agenda in September, because the informal will be the day before. And that way we'll have information from that informal subcommittee and then can then address it that Friday at the regular post-commission meeting.
So is that your motion now?
So Commissioner Russell, make the motion to accept the report and to set Mr. Klassen to an informal hearing in September.
Do we have a second?
Commissioner Wright, second.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
We do need to go back to, Mr.
Yes, we have one agreed order that we agreed to set off to the heel, and that would be Norman Christopher McCoy Boucher. Mr. Boucher was employed by the Euclid City Police Department from November 4th, 2018 until his termination March 28th, 2022 for violation of department policy and procedures, and General Counsel has information on that.
So Mr. Boucher was employed by the Union City Police Department. He was terminated on March 28th of 2022. At the time, they had terminated him based off of their belief that he had participated in evidence tampering related to arrest that he was on. Criminal charges were never brought. The first DA said, I'm not charging him. A new DA came into office, they didn't charge him. So he was terminated based off of basically an uncharged, what Union City believed to be a tampering event. He has now been out of work, I believe, since that date, and has agreed to a 2-year suspension. However, Union City made it very clear that they weren't interested, that they're opposed to the settlement agreement.
What do they wish instead?
I think that they want him to be decertified based off of their belief that he committed a crime. Because of the DA. Didn't have that.
Commissioner Wright, do we have him employed at any other agency? Because I know for a fact that he has been employed somewhere else since then.
Yes, I have that he left his last, and actually, I'm glad you said that. He left his last agency 12 of 23, December of 23.
That's correct. That would have been for Ridgely Police Department. He left Union City and then went to Ridgely about a year later and worked there for less than a year before leaving December of 2023.
So if we wanted to confirm that he would be forced to go through transition school, we also could do some counter offer to do like 2.5 years or something. But right now, if it were to be exactly 2 years, we have about a 3-month period to get hired, to get in here with the new agency employment before that transition is being taken.
So Commissioner Jeffers, so as far as the deal is accepted as is, then once that time is up, he would still have to come back.
He would have to do the full
For
pre-employment
another, okay, all right.
and come off suspension from the position.
Correct. And just for clarification, folks that enter into these agreements of suspensions, the rules state that they have to come back before the commission to get reinstated. So if you were going through that pre-employment process and coming off the suspension, you would have to come back before this commission to get approved to move forward with employment.
And if it was an out-of-state agency,
This agreement would be in the NDI, so it would say a 2-year suspension based off of terminated disciplinary action. And that would be listed in the NDI. So any state that uses the NDI is going to know that actions have taken against the certification. Where right now, where he stands pending a formal, he could go get a job and would have been a little higher.
I'm trying my best to remember right now, because it was either he's moved on from law enforcement or he went to another state. I cannot remember what state.
From my conversations with him, Commissioner Wright, it seems like he's gotten another job in West Tennessee that's not law enforcement. But he has been actively applying at various agencies in that area. So the concern would be that if somebody wanted to hire him and it was formal, we could just go for it. And that's why I thought the suspension would be looked at.
And Commissioner Wright again, just to inform a lot of the commission that I know wasn't here during that time, I do remember this case back when it happened, and it got into a slight pursuit. It turned out to be a family member with some drugs involved, one seen going off camera. Hiding the drugs apparently, which they later found in the direction that they saw him walking at the time. So it just gives a little bit of background of what had happened, transpired. And that's why Union City, I think, is adamant about him not being able to get back into law enforcement.
Yeah, I want to be fair to him, but I also want more importantly and fair to Union City. It sounds like they're adamant about this. So the recommendation is to formal hearing.
So right now he's pending formal. The recommendation from legal is the 2-year suspension. However, my concern about letting him wait for a formal hearing is that could be 6 more months where he could be out applying for jobs. Where if we entered into this suspension, well, we wouldn't necessarily have to do the decertification. We could get him out of law enforcement for the next 2 years.
Question about the NDI for legal. So, he has to come back in front of the commission in order to have the suspension removed. Even though it's a 2-year suspension, he has to come back in front of the commission. We do not remove him from the NDI until that suspension is removed by the commission, correct?
My position is that if you have had action against your certification, even if it was a suspension, it should stay in the NDI. So it would say suspended from this day of 2024 to this day of 2026, reinstated this day of 2027, but that you would never lose that log of this person served a 1-2 year suspension.
But it's not technically reinstated though, if he has to come back in front of the commission to have it removed.
That would be if he were to seek reinstatement.
Right, right. So it would still say suspended in the NDI.
Right. But I would say even if he got completely recertified, came way back into law enforcement for the rest of his law enforcement career, the NDI would show this 2-year suspension so that every agency would be apprised of his history.
But it would still be up to this commission to reinstate him. So it would show that he is, if he never sought reinstatement from the Tennessee Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission, he would still show suspended in the NDI.
That's okay.
Commissioner Jeffers, I'll make a motion to accept the agreed suspension.
Second.
Spangler.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries. We ready for public comments?
We are ready for public comments and there are no public comments.
Any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yeah.